And now for this week's State of Trade in Star Citizen. On October 7th, a hotfix was deployed to servers that was intended to increase refresh rates and stop commodities from consuming themselves. This was met with much joy, but now it appears to have accomplished only half of its intended job. While initial results were well received, the refresh rates only appeared to be acceptable due to lack of people trading at the time, as the wipe for 3.15 had already been announced. Refresh rates have not kept up with demand due to the surge of traders post-wipe, and most commodities have the exact same refresh rate as they did pre-hotfix. Here's hoping CIG takes a look at this once again. In more recent news, 3.15 has gone to live. With the patch comes a full progress wipe. Traders have hit the trade lanes once again, showing that the trade economy is still struggling to support such heavy interest. To make matters worse, two major issues have plagued freighters. The first issue traders are seeing is an issue where port cities are not storing ships correctly. Instead of storing, they are losing ships entirely, only giving owners a claim option as they report the ship as unknown. This also renders any cargo or items on the ships unsellable. Grim Hex is the most notorious for this, but it can happen at any major port city. While these workarounds may not be 100% effective, many traders have found success with storing the ship at an orbital station above their intended port, or parking illegally on top of a hangar and waiting to be impounded. This issue has already robbed traders of millions of credits and shaken confidence in outpost-to-port trading. Many have moved to trading outpost to outpost, surging commodities like fluorine and chlorine. To exacerbate the issue, CIG has also disabled trading scrap to Port Olisar, an exploit allowing traders to buy scrap at Orison to all of their ships and then sell at Olisar without flying them, led to CIG releasing a hotfix that disabled selling scrap to the port. However, CIG has yet to fix scrapyards not detecting ships for trade. With this hotfix, scrap cannot be sold at any location. This has caused millions in losses as traders have filled up on scrap with nowhere to sell to. As scrap is one of the most popular routes due to its low buy-in and impressive margins, this has led to other routes becoming oversaturated, stressing an already overburdened and undersupported economy. And now, on to market data. In the metals market, agricium surged at all locations. Agricium has a rarely seen base price of 22.50 and sells for 27.50. In Microtech, Cantwell on Clio saw agricium reach 23.59. SMCA8 on Calliope surged to 24.67. Around ArtCorp, SAL2 on Lyria rose to 23.85. In Crusader, ArtCorp 141 on Daymar reached 24.77. Kudra Ore on Daymar saw a slightly lower price of 24.43. Titanium sees massive surges at all locations as well. Titanium has a base price of 7.10 and a sell price of 8.90. Around Hurston, titanium on Ariel soared to 7.76 at Bezdek, with Lathan reaching 7.87. In the Microtech system, Clio's Cantwell reached a staggering 7.98. ArtCorp's Lyria saw prices at SAL5 hit 7.93. SAL2 saw a high of 7.95, with Humboldt Mine seeing a low price of 7.54. In Crusader, Tram & Myers sees a spike of 7.85. Gold was unusually snubbed last week by most traders. Gold has a base price of 5.41 and sells for 6.41. Around Crusader, deposits at Shubin SCD1 on Daymar rose to 5.89. Kudra Ore on Daymar reached 5.50. Around Microtech, Caltag on Calliope rose slightly to 5.50. Humboldt, Norgard, Anderson, and SMO18 all held at or near the base price of 5.41. With titanium at all-time highs, gold should be heavily considered by traders looking for an alternative cargo. Tungsten saw regular movement last week. Tungsten has a base price of 3.55 and sells for 4.06. The Microtech system sees Caltech research on Calliope reach 3.68, with SMCA8 reaching 3.75. In Crusader, ArcCorp 141 on Daymar sees a spike of 3.64. Shubin SCD1 sees a high of 3.80. Around ArcCorp 045 sees a small spike of 3.62, with ArcCorp 056 reaching a lower 3.57. Around Hurston, Lathan on Ariel sees a small increase of 3.56. All other locations held to the base price of 3.55. Aluminum saw no changes last week. Aluminum has a base price of 1.11 and sells for 1.33 UEC. With no changes to aluminum and minimal profit, it is still advised to avoid this commodity. Legal Vice sees Distilled Spirits in high demand as usual. Distilled Spirits has a base price of 4.06 with a sell price of 5.56 at major ports. Around Microtech, Bud's Growery on Euterpe had the lowest price of 4.66. Around Crusader, Bountiful Harvest, Terra Mills, and Gillette Family Farms held at 4.69, an incredibly high price. With bulk traders attempting to fill up on this commodity, it may be worth avoiding for the time being. Stems sees heavy movement as well. Stems has a base price of 2.80 and sells for 3.86 at major ports. In Crusader, Deacons on Yela rose to a record price of 3.02. Hicks on Cellin trailed at 2.88. In Microtech, McGrath on Clio followed suit at 2.88. Anvik on Calliope rose to 2.93. Haulers insistent on freighting stems would do well to pay attention to Hicks on Cellin. Gases see an unprecedented surge. Astatine sees heavy movement at all outposts. Astatine has a base price of 7 and a sell price of 9 at major ports. On Microtech, SMO22 spiked at 7.65. SMO10 had a slightly lower price of 7.59. On Calliope, SMCA6 reached 7.89. In Crusader, Benson Mining on Yela surged to 7.93. ArcCorp 157 on Yela kept to a similar 7.92. Around Hurston, Ida's Woodruff held around 7.88, with Ryder at a similar 7.84. Around ArcCorp, Leverage on Lyria rose to 7.70. ArcCorp 056 on Walla saw a lower price of 7.61. ArcCorp 061 kept near 7.17. Keep in mind that 061 only has a maximum stock of 300 SCU and cannot support bulk traders. Fluorine saw unprecedented movement due to several factors. Fluorine has a base price of 2.35 and a sell price of 2.95. While the buy price stayed firm at all outposts except for Cantwell, which saw a price of 2.39, the sell price fell dramatically at all outposts that purchased it. Grimhex and Anvik were the worst offenders, reaching into the 2.7 range. Deacon's research saw the same, with Hicks on Cellin having the highest sell price. Even then, all locations have regularly seen their demands met, and profits continue to sink as the commodity sees a flood of movement. The increased movement can be most likely attributed to scrap being disabled. Chlorine saw more movement than usual as well. Chlorine has a base price of 1.3 and a sell price of 1.71. Around Microtech, SMCA6 on Calliope rose to 1.43. Cantwell on Clio saw a minor bump to 1.32. Around Crusader, Yela's ArcCorp 157 saw the highest price of 1.45, with Benson following close at 1.41. For sell prices, Deacons reached a low of 1.66. Hydrogen saw little movement last week. Hydrogen sees a base price of 0.90 and a sell price of 1.12. ArtCorp 157 on Yela saw minor spikes of 0.96 several times. SMCA 6 on Calliope saw similar bumps to 0.93. Iodine sees no notable movement. Iodine has a base price of 0.35 and a sell price of 0.45. The mineral market sees typical struggles in price and availability. Laranite repeats typical shortages and price spikes. Laranite has a rarely seen base price of 25 and a sell price of 31.01. Around ArtCorp, ArtCorp 045 on Walla reached 27.40, with ArtCorp 056 on Walla seeing 27.81. Around Hurston, Bezdek on Ariel rose to 27.73. Its sister location, Lathan, reached a similar 27.82. Curiously, Tram & Myers had the lowest price of 27.35. Keep in mind that Tram & Myers has the lowest availability of all locations. Diamond sees surges across the board at all locations except for Thetis on Hurston. Diamond has a base price of 5.85 and a sell price of 7.35. Around ArtCorp, Walla's 045 sees a high of 6.43, with 056 following at a price of 6.42. ArtCorp 048 sees a price of 6.28. On Lyria, SAL5 reached 6.33. Around Microtech, Deltana on the planet itself held near 6.25, with SMO13 edging ahead at 6.34. Around Crusader, Tram & Myers reached a staggering 6.85. Hurston's mini deposits surged as well, with Han and Perlman on Magda reaching 6.25. On the planet itself, Edmund was at 6.03, Operai at 6.23, and Pinewood reached 6.31. Thetis on Hurston was the only location to be seen at a base price of 5.85, warranting further investigation by prospective traders. Corundum saw no notable movement. Corundum has a base price of 2.30 and a sell price of 2.71. Beryl saw minor movement this week. Beryl has a base price of 4.06 and a sell price of 4.35. And Crusader deposits at ArtCorp 141 on Daymar reached an astounding 4.12. Deposits at SMCA 8 on Calliope reached a staggering 4.15 for some reason. Quartz sees no notable movement. Quartz has a base price of 1.25 and has a sell price of 1.55. The scrap trade has been scrapped. Scrap has a base price of 1.35 and a sell price of 1.86. However, due to previously mentioned adjustments by CIG, scrap cannot be sold at any location at this time. Do not purchase scrap until CIG has corrected their mistake. Medical supplies see typical surges at all locations. Medical supplies have a rarely seen base price of 15.75 and a sell price of 19.25 at major ports. Around Microtech, McGrath Research on Clio rose to 16.97. Anvik Research on Calliope saw higher pricing at 17.32. In Crusader, Deacon's Research on Yela rose to 17.19, while Hicks Research on Selen experienced a repeat low of 16.74. Medical supplies are also seeing regular shortages at all locations. Processed food sees no notable movement. Processed food has a base price of 1.21 and a sell price of 1.56. Agricultural supplies also see little movement and have a base price of 1 UEC with a sell price of 1.20. And now for next week's forecast. With the massive surge in trade due to the progress wipe, expect all major commodities to continue to soar. The usual culprits will have high pricing across the board. Gold may see minor price spikes as traders seek alternatives. Fluorine and chlorine may cool off a little if CIG can release a hotfix for the scrap trade. However, Expect the trade lanes to continue to be full as many players return for the IAE, which begins November 19th. And now, for this week's trading tip. Have you died while entering or exiting an outpost? Going up or down the stairs? Try crouching. Crouching when entering or exiting a ship or outpost will prevent you from being tossed around, saving you from injury or even death. This can also help when ascending or descending stairs. This, in turn, will save the cargo that you just purchased. Prevent a fall, don't stand tall. That's it for this week's State of Trade. Until next time, keep on trucking.